I would like to discuss about growing, maturing, and excelling in our authentic code. I wanted to review myself. So I went on my Facebook and I had a life review of the years leading up to now. So I looked at some of my photos of after I graduated high school and seeing the transformation of me in my teenhood becoming a woman. And I went through many styles, many styles of hair, many styles of clothing. Some today I would think, oh, wow, it's quite interesting. And the other, though, that's a little bit too out there. Or, whoa, that's kind of a little wacko. But I just laugh at it. It's a sarcastic experience for me to look at the years of being in that teenhood and then trying to navigate the adult world to finding my footing and finding my contact with what it means to be a woman. And what helped me to come into the authenticity of my code, that I'm really sparking and igniting in myself wholeheartedly, is non-judgment. Judgment can block us from allowing what needs to come through for us to grow, mature, and excel. Judgment is a seriousness. It's a seriousness. While non-judgment is a play, like I said, it's quite sarcastic to be non-judgmental. Meaning you are adaptable, flexible, changeable. Being judgmental is fixed. It is non-accepting. It is critical. It is analyzing. It is dissecting. And sometimes there's times when I analyze, I have a review through a very logical mind where I'm kind of journaling and mapping out. But that always brings me closer to play. It never brings me further away from play. I play when I write about in my journal about how I can improve myself. I organize it, which requires an analytical mind to organize manifestations, the life review, self-psychology. But it always is bringing me closer to play. It is quite playful to journal out intentions during the new moon and to have reflections on the full moon. The seriousness comes from comparing ourselves, contrasting ourselves, and competing. So compare, contrast, and compete is what we all do too much. So as a young person, it is very, very easy to compare and to contrast and to compete. But the judgment within that culture can delay us from fully accepting our confidence and our self-worth is going to be original and it's going to be our own. It's not going to fit into any sort of comparison and contrast with other people. It's colorful. That's what confidence is. That's what self-worth is. It's quite colorful in nature, like the aura. You get an aura photo and it's like, whoa, that is such confidence. That beautiful aura, it's bold, it's brazen, and it's ambitious. That's confidence. That's self-worth. And we can very much block these colors from naturally unfolding when we begin to judge ourselves in comparison to another, in contrast to that. We are all like the aura photos. I love looking at aura photos of so many people and get to see how the divine within us and around us in our energetic field is quite infinite. There is no two aura photos that are exactly the same. You may have the same red, but there's always this unique shade of it. This unique shade of red with a combination of green or violet. And it's what gives us personality. It's what gives us character. Children are the confidence and the self-worth of life. They grow and mature and excel leaps and bounds in their young years because they are free and they're wild. But as we adults, we get into this institutional mind, where that institutional mind is very much like that factory belt, I like to say, of same, repeat, same, repeat, same, repeat. It's kind of like in school. It's kind of like same, repeat, and then the next students come in, same, repeat, and then the next student comes in, same, repeat, and then, the class... that class graduates, another class comes in, that class graduates. It's kind of same, repeat. So we are all kind of conditioned into this, I like to say, factory belt, institutional personality. But the inner child is our radiance, it's our vitality, it's our movement with life. So whenever I think of people who are visionaries or creative minds in some way, it could even be in science, okay, not just music or jazz or we say painting or sculpture. It's also science, and it's also math. But there's always this commonality between these visionary minds or these people on a creative quest of discovery and innovation. They have this play with form. Either it's science or math. They're playing with the form of science. They're playing with the form of math. They're bringing colors and shapes and patterns together, okay, to see what newness can come from it. That's how we always reach the next frontier or the next era, the next age, is somebody with a playful mind, quite sarcastic and open, decide, I'm just going to put these patterns and shapes and forms together, and I'm just going to experiment and see kind of what comes about from this. And sometimes nothing, and sometimes a new era, such as like the Renaissance or something, or a new era in science. But that commonality between these ambitious minds is that they're very close to their inner child. Okay, they don't necessarily need to be childlike, but they do have this native and wild spark to them. Okay? And that can be expressed in so many ways, because like children, they express their fondness for nature in so many different ways. But overall, they're all expressing this native and wild spark for life. So whenever we think of the people on this planet who are the most exhilarated, enthusiastic about their day-to-day kind of exploration with the world, who are they? They're the children. They're the ones that are most exhilarated, most enthusiastic about, let's say, going to school, going to the park, going to the beach, going on the play date. They have this, their eyes widen, they're wide open. And that gives them this personality, this character. But as we enter into this institutional same, repeat, factory belt of how we are to live and pursue the status quo, we begin to lose that spark, and in replace of that spark becomes this emptiness, this hollowness. We call that hollow status quo that doesn't nourish us. It doesn't give us nutrients. It doesn't give us leadership. It doesn't exalt us. It doesn't push us. It doesn't challenge us. Like that child in the early years, growing, maturing, and excelling. Everything is challenging them. Everything is pushing them. Everything's exalting them in a way that is natural and wild to who they are. It's not of a force. It's not of an I'm going to impose upon your native rhythm to make you like what I want you to be. It's more of assert your creativity to the most beastly way you can. And that's what gives us this color. That's what gives us the say our unique jazz. So a jazzy soul is always a very nourished soul, our nourished human experience. And we're beginning to learn in our life that the judgments we all carry to us, the seriousness of all those judgments, it does not give us the nutrients or the nourishment we require as a human to be lit up with exhilarating enthusiasm. Because that exhilarating enthusiasm is our determination. It is our ambition. It is our constructive, corrective action. It is our vision. It is our intention. And the very fact that we obtain this level of status quo with our compare, contrast, compete, we get a level of footing on our adult life, but then we don't feel that touch of the divine. I'm not talking about religious or organized religion, or we can say any sort of spiritual ideology pathway. It is a touch of divine, which for me is a fondness towards nature and a fondness towards your colorful and personalized talent. So when I was reviewing kind of myself and how I've developed over the years and went through many styles and kind of many cultures of myself, and I was experimenting with all kinds of ways I could be creative or musical, or I could educate myself, going through all kinds of school of thought and creativity. I found that the freedom, even looking back and seeing kind of some of the things, the freedom is having the charisma of the heart and the instincts of the gut. To look at myself as a character that's on a journey. That's not something that I need to shame, not something I need to judge. Because a journey implies you're going to get wiser. And the very fact that some of us, we really block growth is because we do shame ourselves and we shame other people. We judge ourselves, we judge other people for our, we could say, destructive past or not so beneficial habits in the past, okay, or negativity or stagnation of our choices and actions, okay. But viewing ourselves as a journey implies that we are changing and we're evolving. And when we begin to play with that and to be kind of sarcastic with that, then we can have that freedom of mind to be more innovative with ourselves and with other people. We give ourselves more options. We give other people more options. When you judge yourself or when you shame and judge other people, you don't give them any options. And that's kind of what we're discovering right now. There's not many options to judgment. It's not a journey. It's not. You become this thing and then you become it your whole life. Just like a factory belt. You are this product, okay, like you're making a factory a belt of a car door, and that's you. You're you're nothing else. That's who you're supposed to be, and that's that. I made you on my factory to be a door to a car. But we're not like that. Like the children, going through many phases of style and talent and excitement and direction and friends and everything. When we are on a journey, we grow quantum leaps in expression and thought and in livelihood. We begin to strip our livelihood, which is to live, okay, to be alive. When we bind ourselves to the judgment, to the shame of whatever story or narrative we're playing out in our head that is our reason why we shouldn't have freedom. We all want freedom. It's like the greatest thing, right, on earth we want is freedom. But this freedom is more so freedom from ourselves. It's freedom from the judgment and the shame that has us irritated and agitated and constantly at battle with ourselves and then battle with other people. I find that people who are always in battle with other people tend to have a lot of judgment about themselves. But journey gives us innovation. It gives us options. So if that option is not working for you, or if that option is not working for that other person, innovation is our creative problem solving. It transforms what we call the friction of we're in conflict with our past. We're in conflict with who we are now. That friction of you're rubbing against yourself, your past self, your potential, the problem of your future self. You're rubbing against yourself in a very serious, hardcore way. But children represent the ma frequency. They represent the softening, like a flower, the softening of humanness. And that softening of humanness is called our receptivity. Our receptivity, or reciprocity. Those are two words that describe the ma frequency. Receptivity and reciprocity. Okay. So even saying the word receptivity, reciprocity, I have dyslexia. Okay, I have a stutter. And a part of an example of how friction, or we call conflict with ourselves, or the problem of our past, or the problem of the future could be problem, okay? Innovation gives us options. It gives us room to discover a tool, a method that can bring more creative play with that seeming judgment that we have. Like for me, I used to judge, you could say, the stutter, the dyslexia that I have. But now, through the play and through the journey of innovation, I've used that to the freedom of within that, through the non-judgment, is to open my doors to options of exploring dyslexia, such as script writing, such as public speaking, such as mantra and courses on articulation of the heart and what does that mean? Music. There's having an open door to my journey has allowed me to transform what we see the stutter of dyslexia into an exhilarating enthusiasm. Seriousness just makes me feel like I'm going to be that, and I'm going to be that forever. While playfulness allows me to experiment, and yes, there may be going to be improvement, and then there's going to be things that are just going to be. And I'm creative enough to work it out and to work it into my color of excellence. And that confidence and that character is the nutrients that gives our human life, our human experience, a fondness, a closeness, an intimacy with nature, with what is native and wild. So I wanted to share this because long ago I was quite judgmental of myself and, very relentless about myself, towards myself. Very brazen and strict sometimes towards myself. But as I took on that inner child Ma, that softening like a flower in bloom, that softening of myself, I found that innovation, it was something that just, it was free-flowing. It's free-flowing innovation. It's not something serious or picking or striving or attacking, competing, contrasting, comparing for that. It's a free-flowing nature that comes through each human, each individual, through their personality and character. And when we lose personality and character, that's when innovation becomes quite seeming very difficult to attract to us or to realize within us. It seems quite difficult, because judgment and the self-belittlement of judgment, either belittling of other people for their shame or ourselves. Belittlement is a closed door. It says, I'm not good enough to explore my creativity. I'm not good enough to free myself of this idea or belief I have about I'm not good enough. I don't have the confidence enough to take the lead and to bring livelihood back to myself. Livelihood. So we all, as an adult, either we're 30, 40, 50, 80, we all come to this point when we want livelihood becomes the great, say, victory of our life. After we go through all of this status quo kind of game and that game and in that game, the livelihood always is something we return back to, because we realize that is our touch of the divine. That is our fondness with nature, our innovation. It is options, multi-talented options. And that multi-talented options give us a multi-dimensional life that becomes quite colorful and like a mandala. So many shapes and patterns. It's just eye-opening. That's livelihood, we saw a great mandala full of so many shapes and patterns and forms. It's like a dance. That's that livelihood, that dance, or you said that Indian dance. We're such in awe of, we go to India and we see these Indian dances and we're in awe of it. Because it's multifaceted and that comes into a multi-dimensional being. That is channeling through them that free-flowing energy of creation to the finest. And we all want to be a part of that. That's why we came to life. We all wanted to be a part of that free-flowing creation. We just simply need to allow that journey to prevail over the judgment, the belittlement, the shame that just entraps everybody into an institutional make of them. You are this make, and you'll be that make for the rest of your life, into a making. You are a making, that's journey. You are making, you're not a make. You are maked. You are maked. What is that? What am I saying? You are made. It's a making. I'm making. And that's what dance is. That's what any sort of art form is. You're making it. It's implying an action, adjective. It's moving. It's moving into something else. And we don't know what that something else is. So when we, the shame that the people who have done crimes and put them in jail, I've made you to be that, and you are that. You are the prisoner of all of your bad deeds, and you're going to be all those bad deeds to the rest of your life. A making is the unknown. That dance, as an audience, we don't know where that dance is going to move into. It's quite spontaneous and quite sarcastic. But the rhythm of it has a leadership. So that's why we get a little idea of the journey or the story of that Indian dance by the rhythm. And when that rhythm, you say the heart rhythm, is lively, it has character, it is fierce, it's directive. We know that free-flowing dance is going to be one that has a lot of charisma, a lot of, overcoming mountains and revealing that through the movement of the body. I've overcome mountains. I brought myself to the mountains. I brought myself to the valley so I could learn, so I could share this. That's a making. There is no making when you are just in that. You are that. That is your make. That is your make. That's it. So I always say creation in the making, because creation, as we know, the universe is constantly making itself, and even Earth is constantly revolving into this multi-dimensional, multifaceted, multi-talented experience that's ever blooming, that's ever dying, that's ever coming to new life and new sound and new form. In tapping into that is that livelihood. Nothing is satisfying with, the seriousness of it. The drop when your heart drops because you have just looked at yourself or you just looked at somebody else in a way that's entrapping. Your heart drops. Literally, you feel it. Oh, my heart just dropped because I just entrapped that person by saying to that person or thinking or whatever thing that person is that and that's that. Oh man, I just kind of felt like I dropped a little bit. The elevation of that heart or the amplification of that heart, it comes from the option of seeing exhilarating enthusiasm within every person. We talk about the entrapped of the entrapped, which is, you could say, prisoners who are not only entrapped in their head, also entrapped in a facility, and also the double entrapment. Okay. We need that amplification, that elevation of that heart to bring us that exhilarating enthusiasm to all of the entrapment that's happening to all of us in all kinds of shapes and forms, the belittlement again and again, so that we can give our rhythm, our leading rhythm that can begin to move what we call this make into a making jazz, making jazz that's moving. It has a chance, it has an option to move into a new form. Sometimes that's smooth. Sometimes it's like a little bit of a push. It's kind of jazz. It can be smooth. Sometimes it's a little bit of like, okay, we need to do a little bit of effort we got off the course, but we need a little bit of effort to kind of get back into this direction that the rhythm's leading us. But when we see it as jazz, we see each other as jazz, and then we're seeing rhythm in the lack of rhythm, as we say, the friction of all conflicts of this world is to be out of rhythm and to not know rhythm, to not know how to that rhythm to move yourself in a way that's going to give you more enthusiasm, to give you more innovation, that rhythm to give you more creativity. When we get out of that rhythm, that's the great conflict with ourselves and with society. We get out of that rhythm, we get out of that jazz. We get out of that play. We get out of that closeness with nature. We start to, what we call, wander into these institutional judgments that have no heartbeat a lot of times. But underneath everything, there is a rhythm. Everything, creation comes through a rhythm. It comes through a rhythm. Everything that may be seeming way off kilter, underneath it all, there is a rhythm. It's just a matter of fact of, do we have the play? Okay, it's a play. Do we have the play? Do we have the exhilarating enthusiasm? Do we have that innovation to kind of chiropract our off kilter rhythm back onto that leadership rhythm? Do we have that innovation? And that's not going to come through seriousness. A seriousness will never find that rhythm. Will never. Because that rhythm starts with livelihood and it starts with lifestyle. That's the child. The child is lifestyle of livelihood. So lifestyle of livelihood brings a child into their rhythm. A lifestyle of livelihood brings a child into their rhythm. A rhythm of innovation, a rhythm of creative problem solving, a rhythm of character, personality. And what does all of that bring to a child? It brings them a warrior saint, heart and gut. That warrior saint, heart and gut. I have the gut implies I have the instinct, the self-trust. And that heart implies I have the humanitarian touch of nature. And that's why, we see the children's little communities that they have. There's no, I'm going to entrap you you're going to be entrapped, my friend. Or you're going to be entrapped. I'm going to trap all of you guys because all of you, I shame you all for this and that. No. It is very much that belittlement that comes to a child. They don't know what to do with it because it's so arrhythmic to them. They don't understand belittlement that comes through the years of, the school years a lot of times, or it could even be from the parents. They don't understand that belittlement because it's so arrhythmic to livelihood, a lifestyle of livelihood. It's so arrhythmic. But the best thing they know how to do to cope, okay, if you see children who cope with it, they have to play. They have to do something jazzy. They have to immerse themselves with nature. They have to infuse nature into their life to cope with the belittlement. Because they know infusing nature into them is bringing them closer to their natural incline, which is to be jazzy with life. So when we develop that natural, infusion with nature as children, into adults, we gain this this security with ourselves and with our purpose and with our direction and our leadership. So I just wanted to share this with you guys because this is the journey thus far of my own making and my continued making and my continued creative making and intellectual making and emotional making and sexual making and all the kinds of multifaceted, multi-talented, multi-dimensional Mandela that I am. That's constantly like the Mandela, you say the monks in the Himalayas, okay? The Mandalas that they make. And then when they make it, they work so diligently in making it, and then they just allow it to be remade. And they allow it to let it go and just to allow it to be remade. So it keeps that free flowing. I'm in the making of this life, this light, like light. It's a continued thing. It never ends. It appears it ends, but it never ends. It just continues to take on other forms and other shapes elsewhere and beyond. That's kind of light. That's sound. Sound is. It's never gone. It's always here. It's just in different octaves or different frequencies, different resonance. It's always in the making. So when we understand that foundation of rhythm, like that heartbeat, we understand everything has a polarity. It has a destructive, it has a creative, and it has that rhythm between. That rhythm that when connecting to that, like jazz, through that movement, you know how to move it. You know how to move what's getting out of beat back into the beat. That's the play of form. We don't have play. Something gets out of whack. We don't know how to adjust it. We don't know how to self-correct it. And then we get entrapped in it. Because we don't have the play, like jazz, to actually, okay, we're getting off beat. Okay, we're getting way off beat. Oh my God, we're way off beat. Okay, we pulled it back together and we got it. Okay? When we don't have that play, when we don't have that collaboration, innovation with our livelihood, we get off beat for decades, for, 3-5 decades. And then what? We're not having a multi-talented life experience. Because to be off beat and to not know how to direct the beat, not know how to move it, there is no multi-talented, multi-dimensional growth and maturity, excellence happening. Because you don't know how to play it into different forms, like an instrument. You don't know how to play it. You know how to entrap it, but you don't know how to correct it or to move it into areas that give you a more dynamic range. Like prisoners, there's a dynamic range to everybody, not just destruction. There's a dynamic range. It's just the matter of fact of not having the innovation to actually command that and to lead that. Without that, it's kind of like, I'm entrapped, I guess. And that's where we talk about the shaman. The shaman is that innovation that leads people out of those dimensions that we call the dirt, where I'm entrapped in the dirt, and they have that innovation to move people spiritually into a new formation. Even Kundalini yoga, meditation, past life regression, self-hypnosis, all of that is like jazz, we're moving. It can be self-correcting, self-adjusting ourselves to give us more options in our reality. That's innovation. Have more options with our reality choice. And the children, they have that freedom, that reality choice. And we have that as well, to move yourself with the rhythm, to give you those reality choices of how you can conduct yourself, express yourself, and to characterize yourself, you know? So I'm just going to leave you guys with that. So thank you.